Producers, it's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com here with another producer motivation 911. I didn't change it because you guys said to keep it. Producers, today we're going to talk about the art and the business of beat titling. What are you calling your beats? You got a beat right now called Purple Chargers. Why you got a beat called Purple Chargers? Why? Because you're a producer. I'm a producer. We're weird by nature. We do things. We name beats. We do things out of the box. We do cartwheels and somersaults around the box. We laugh at the box. We laugh at people inside the box. It's funny because I always joke that if you go through a producer's catalog right now and you go in this beat folder, you're going to find out everything that's going on in his life. You're going to see beat titles like Dinner Was Bad, I Hate My Boss, Electricity Do, Turned Down, Turned Up. You're going to find all of these different beat titles that are basically telling you what's going on in his life and where his nutrition is at. I'm no different. I have beats called Pink Fantas, Forrest Whitaker's Neck, Gorilla Knuckles, Incense Pimpin'. And I quickly learned that those beat titles do not sell beats. Although they're funny as hell, they do not sell beats. When you get into the leasing business and you get into the beat selling business, your biggest asset is going to be how memorable your beat titles are. You have to understand, when a typical artist or rapper is looking for beats and they're going through a SoundClick and they're looking through all these different pages, most of them are seeing 20 and 30 beats at a time. And most artists and producers are keeping mental notes, but they don't need to remember your beat. So why make it more difficult for them to remember it? Now you may argue, well, a beat called Pink Chargers is pretty memorable because it's funny. Well, yeah, because it has reference to you. It has reference to what you find funny. What if somebody who is a potential customer doesn't get the sense of humor? What if they don't get the reference? Matter of fact, what if they're out of your country and what if they try to Google that term and they don't find anything in the search engine for what it actually means? You got to think about those things. Although we're weird and we want to keep our artistic value when you get into the business, I'm not saying you got to sacrifice all of it, but you got to slim down a bit on the abstractness. You can't have these abstract beat titles and be trying to sell goo gobs of beats. Now, every once in a while, do we have a beat that takes off and it just has this weird title? Yeah, that definitely happens. An exception to every rule. But you do not want to base your whole business around that model. When I'm naming my beats, I tend to go for titles that are very short, very descriptive, no longer than 2 words. And I'm hoping that it's something that strikes a certain chord with that particular sound of that beat. And what do I mean by that? I think that when you listen to certain beats, there's an overall emotion or overall phrase that best represents what that beat stands for. Ambition, legacy, Bentley dreams. You got to think of something that immediately evokes a certain emotion or evokes a certain reference to what this beat is actually trying to convey. What story is this beat telling? Now, this is a reason why a lot of producers use the like J. Cole beat, like Kendrick beat. The reason why they use that is because they're trying to give rappers a point of reference. You're basically trying to get somebody who's a complete stranger to you, who doesn't know what you do. You're trying to get them some kind of a point of familiarity where they look at that and say, I'm on this page and I'm looking for a specific sound. Well, J. Cole kind of has that sound, so let me go dip into these beats that have the J. Cole type beat. And for them, it's very convenient. And especially for up-and-coming artists who don't necessarily know how to approach a beat, these so-and-so type beats are heaven for them. You give them an opportunity to see how to approach that creatively. Because if they can hear their favorite rapper over it, they're going to actually go in there and they're probably going to emulate their favorite rapper, but they're going to know how to approach it, and therefore it's going to get you a sale. So short descriptive titles that actually have some sort of an emotion to it, even attach an artist to it, make it so that it's an easy sale, so that they know exactly what they're investing into. What story are you trying to tell? Who would you actually hear on this beat? Because it may change the way they approach a record. Just think about this. If you put Chris Brown type beat, or if you put Drake type beat, that's 2 different ways completely to address a record. See how that can have a big effect on somebody's psychology when they're choosing a beat on your page? Keep that in mind. Another reason producers do a so-and-so like beat is because they're hoping to share some traffic. And think about it. If you have a beat that attracts a certain type of rapper because of the rapper that you have chosen, You're attracting like-minded business. Although many producers who don't do it don't understand it, I completely understand it. It's great when it comes to SEO searches. It's great when it comes to YouTube views and YouTube searches. People are trying to look for specific types of beats. Why not supply something to those customers? Why not be a service to the people? Because of your pride? Terrible reason. Now, those are some of the things to keep in mind. Here's a few things I consider the ultimate sins when it comes to naming your beats. Don't name your beat something with a bunch of asterisks and a bunch of dollar signs and a bunch of characters that only mean something to you and where you're from. You want to make sure that you have a title that's specific to what your beat is actually trying to convey. What story is it telling? Be very direct about it. Long beat titles are sins. Here's why they're sins. People look at a long beat title and they'll probably only remember one keyword from that. They're probably going to remember, if you got a beat that says, banging it out, slappers, oh my God, this thing is so hard, oh, what's going on tomorrow? They're probably going to come to you and say, hey man, how much for that tomorrow beat? If they even come back to it. Don't do the long beat titles. You're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot. Because after all, you're trying to sell beats, man. You ain't trying to confuse people. Don't confuse them. Another sin, generic beat titles like Trap 1, Hip Hop 255. Lord, don't do that. It's like naming your kids Ugly 1 and Ugly 2 or Cute 1 and Cute 2. You would never do that. Why? Because there's no character. There's no point of familiarity. There is no identity within that. So why would you name your beats the same way? Name your beats like you name your kids. Take some time. Don't be ashamed if it takes you 20 minutes to come up with a name. Sometimes I sit there, I loop a beat and think about what exactly was I trying to convey in this beat. What is the overall story? Some examples of some successful beat titles for me. I had a beat called My Story, which is doing excellent. My Legacy, Life and Times, Balcony Views, especially now that Drake released Views. This is a great timing to do that. Kingpin, Barbarian, Cypher Up, Poison, World Star. These are beat titles that when you look at them, they can mean a million different things for different people, right? But they mean something to them. They have some kind of a point of reference. I say World Star to one person, they may think that this beat is going to make them a world star. I say World Star to somebody else, they may think they're going to get punched by Star Keisha. That's a whole nother story. The right beat title means something specific to everyone. You got to play with different titles. I think the ultimate goal is to find the balance between an abstract title and a cliche title. Find something right there in the middle that actually means something, something deliberate, something straightforward. When you figure out that game, your beats will be easier to remember. Your beats will be getting leased even more, and you'll be happy. You and your pink charges will be happy. This has been another Producer Motivation 911, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com.
It ain't a game. Play this every morning when you wake up. Oh, gosh told me not to sing on this, but I promise you, I feel like mystical. Hey, come on, let me get this. Like, I don't really got too much to say, but glory.